André Mack, and today I'm going to tell you about a whole bunch of different wine glasses. Wine glasses change your perception and how you experience drinking wine. And there's certain things that glass should have to lend to a great wine drinking experience. There are some really cool reasons behind why these glasses were designed the way they were. We're going to start with the burgundy glass. Most glasses, wine glasses, will have four key components. You'll have the lip, you have the bowl, you have the stem, and then you'll have the base. The most striking feature of the burgundy glasses is kind of balloon shape. The purpose of the large bowl is to capture the aromatics. So you have something that's very aromatic, something like Pinot Noir that's poured in this glass. And as you swirl, the vapors get trapped because it's kind of got this cone shape here. You want to hold it by the stem so you don't alter the temperature of the wine. You see in the movies where people grab it like this or they swirl like this, it seems all awkward. Generally, we say it's called stemware for a reason, use it. You want to have a really thin lip here so it's not bulky, so it kind of like just pours smoothly over your palate. When you have something really bulky, you feel that transition. I know that seems crazy and very small, but the thinner the rim, the better. The delivery for all the wines are due to its shape. It feels like it's at a triangle, so it pours into one point of my mouth and then kind of spreads back to the either side of my mouth. Sides of my tongue start to tingle. Pinot Noir is a high acid grape, so I really get to experience. The delivery, I think, is one of the great things about it, along with being able to admire the aromatics. I love this glass. I drink tons of different wines out of it. I make margaritas out of it. Margaritas out of this glass are the best. It's a multi-purpose glass in my home because we do drink a lot of Burgundy and Pinot Noir. This is the glass that we tend to lean to. This is a Bordeaux glass / Cabernet glass. The wines from Bordeaux tend to lean heavy on Cabernet Sauvignon. The shape of this glass is interesting. It just looks like an oversized wine glass. It kind of looks like it got stung with a bee. You know, it's got a allergic reaction to it. So this has a little bit more narrow bowl than considering the Burgundy glass. Generally speaking, Cabernet needs a lot more air. So you won't have the lips of the glass curving in to trap aromatics. Cabernet and Bordeaux are very tannic. It needs a lot of headroom, a lot of breathing room here. So you have lots of volume here to allow oxygen to help decant the wine and soften the wine. Always look at these as being somewhat of a mini decanter. The delivery is definitely a little bit faster. As soon as you tip the glass, it starts to cover the palate from the front to the back. This has kind of a linear shape with a slight curvature to it. Delivers the wine pretty evenly on your palate. I would recommend this glass to most people. I think a lot of people are attracted to it because of the way it looks. It's elegant from afar. I always think that it's a great glass, especially if you're drinking reds. So this looks like a Chardonnay white wine glass. It's short in stature, it has a small bowl, not a lot of headroom here. Red wine needs lots of oxygen, lots of air, so you'll tend to find really huge bowls. White wine, a little bit more aromatic, more acidity, and so you want to have a smaller bowl. So in size, this is almost half the size of the previous glass. We have a little brown Chardonnay from Napa Valley. You know, it's something interesting about this glass. Like, I would prefer to drink this wine out of the previous glass. It just seems like the delivery would feel a lot better. This all comes as like a rush. All of a sudden, it's all in your mouth, and it doesn't feel like the right glass for this particular wine, in my opinion. This looks like a dessert wine glass that you would serve port out of or fortified wine out of. People don't drink copious amounts of dessert wine. Generally, it's on the sweet, heavier side, higher in alcohol. So this is a smaller glass for that. Almost kind of the same shape as a typical wine glass, a little bit more fluted to kind of catch the aromatics. This is called white port. Did you know it was such a thing? Standard glass pour of wine is 5 ounces, but dessert wine pour is about 3 ounces. If I was a consumer going into a place and you poured me 3 ounces in a very large glass, people would think that it's an underpour. And I think the delivery kind of like shoots more into the center of my palate, like definitely where I accentuate sugar. I don't know if it enhances the experience in that sense. I like how it's proportioned. Other than that, like if I'm at the dinner table and you pull out these glasses, I know that we're moving on to something else. It's like, oh my God, like it's port or sweet wine, it's dessert, it's Sauterne. Changing the shape and style kind of sets the tone as well. On to probably the most famous shaped glass ever. This is called the champagne flute. Very narrow here, as you can look in here, maybe 2 inches wide to help facilitate the bubbles rising to the top. Because it is the most famous in stature, I always think it's a great way to be able to dress up sparkling wine. And so what I decided to do is pour a little bit of Moscato d'Asti. If you pour sparkling wine in a wide surface, it's more surface to air ratio, bubbles will disappear very quickly. If you pour them in a very narrow glass, they will continue to come up because they don't have as much room to expand. And so this keeps the glass full of bubbles. I love this glass. I think I love it less and less for actual champagne, where, champagne to me is also considered wine. I think that it should be poured in a white wine glass. The flute doesn't allow you to really evaluate a wine. It doesn't allow to really kind of swirl, can't really fit in the glass. But for something like this is fun and this is great. And I think it's celebratory and it's a way to put, 25-inch rims on your Moscato d'Asti. What we have here is considered the predecessor of the champagne flute. This is called a coupe. It's a short, squatty glass, pretty thick, not a seamless rim. Legend has it that it is the shape of Marie Antoinette's breast. I'll leave you with that. This is a little floral cider. Looks beautiful in this glass, but there's all of this surface area to release bubbles. So it's kind of like the complete opposite of a champagne flute. It all kind of comes rushing to the top. It doesn't allow you to swirl, you still can sniff. It's kind of hard to maneuver too, right? But this reminds you of getting a cocktail and, the first thing you do, you pick it up and you sip it like that. The glass lends more to a cocktail, sparkling wine that doesn't need to be evaluated. And that's why I always think it's cool to pour something like this in it. Some real sparkling cider. It's still fun and still serious. Next up, this is the stemless glass. It's kind of missing a couple of the parts that we talked about in glassware. There's no stem, there's no base. This probably came around in the late 1990s, early 2000s to encourage people to drink wine more casually and still have some of the elements. So it still has the wide bowl. You can still kind of swirl this way, a little bit of rosé. These two things kind of came into prominence right around the same time. Good wine in a box, glasses that aren't considered dainty or fragile because of the stem or the base, and being able to enjoy those things at a picnic. I felt like these two things are a match made in heaven. You're picking it up by the sides like a traditional glass. You're drinking a wine that you're knocking back, right? It's not this serious thing. And I think this glass is great. I know a lot of people who hate this glass, and I don't hate on it. It's bringing more people to the party, the wine party that is, and I'm grateful for that. So next up is actually a white wine glass. I like to call it an all-purpose glass. It lends to a great drinking experience all across the board, in my opinion. It is definitely on the expensive side. It's not a big giant bowl, but it is pretty thin. Touching it, you feel like you can break it with your mind. So this is a blend of Cabernet and Cabernet Franc from the Willamette Valley. The glass is just lightweight, elegant. The experience is just different from the vessel that is poured in. The delivery is just seamless. The lip is absolutely razor thin, and I think all wine can benefit from that. It is tapered enough to kind of trap all of those aromatics that I want to capture from wines across the board. If I had to choose one glass to drink every wine out of, this would be the glass. You can definitely find versions of glasses like this that cost less. Will they be exactly the same? No. But you don't need this particular glass to choose one glass. You know what I mean? I think to simplify your life, if you have one glass that you enjoy drinking out of, maybe that's the glass you should be drinking out of. So do you need any of this glassware to elevate your experience? I think only you get to decide that. But these are some of the ones that are out here. I definitely think that it's fun to dress up wine sometimes and put them in a glass that you really like to elevate your experience. And in the end, you can always take it straight to the head and go from the bottle. Tastes just as good.